Daniel Emmet is our guest this week, a singer-songwriter who most of America got to know on the show America's Got Talent. Please stay with us. Welcome to Personally Speaking. I'm your host, Msgr Jim Lisante, and singer Daniel Emmet joins me now. Daniel was a finalist on season 13 of the NBC hit series America's Got Talent. He was asked by Judge Simon Cowell to take on the impossible challenge of learning a new song in Italian and performing it live on national television in 1 hour. Daniel's performance brought the judges and the audience to their feet, and he then performed a stunning duet with Placido Domingo for the season finale. Daniel is a Las Vegas headline performer, and he tours with the singer Marie Osmond, who described him as, quote, a star on the rise with a once-in-a-generation voice. Daniel's a multilingual, multi-genre artist with international appeal, and his debut album is in the works. Joining me now, I'm so pleased to welcome to Personally Speaking the wonderful crossover singer, Daniel Emmet. Before we get to our interview with Daniel, let's listen to him singing The Prayer with Marie Osmond.
I pray you'll be alright.
La luce che tu dai
And watch us where we go.
nel cuore resterà nella mia preghiera. Quanta fede c'è
when shadows feel like it.
lead us to a place,
Guide us with your grace.
give us faith so we'll be saved. Sogniamo un mondo senza più un mondo di giustizia e di speranza. Ognuno diamo un solo vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che
Daniel, thanks for coming on our program. And let me begin by asking you a question. Most parents of young men like yourself, while they want their children to have avocations and interests, want their kids to have a steady job, regular income, pension, and the promise of stability in the future. You go into the arts of all things, and I've heard elsewhere that your parents were totally on board. How did that happen?
Well, I'm very, very blessed and fortunate to have an incredible support system with my family. And as you said, parents want the best for their children. They want them to succeed and be successful and to follow their passions, but at the same time have that security and stability. And my parents have always believed in my passion and told me that it's more important to do what you love and have that every day in your life than to do what's expected or to do what everyone else does, to really follow your dream and your passion, and you won't be able to go wrong with that.
That's a great point of view. Let me ask you, are there other people in the family who have what you have, this gift for music?
I have some siblings that sing as well. My younger sister is currently studying theater at University of North Carolina School of the Arts. I so far am the only one to journey into the arts as a profession outside of college. So I'm kind of the guinea pig in the family. My older siblings are education administrators and real estate agents, and my younger brother is a personal trainer. So we have a wide variety of fields and interests in the family, and my parents are in the medical field and in the telecom field, and we are a very diverse group of individuals when it comes to our career paths.
I'm always interested in family of origin. When you have other kids in the family with different gifts, and someone becomes the star of the family like you, is there jealousy, resentment, or are they all on board and saying, Daniel, we're with you?
You know, I've been very lucky. We've never experienced a jealousy issue in the family. We all support each other. And I think part of the fact that we all do have such diverse and different talents and dreams that it's very easy to support one another. It's not we're a competitive family for sure. When it comes to game night, watch out. We take no prisoners. But in terms of our dreams and our goals, there's no jealousy there.
Then, you know, you've had not just America's Got Talent, but in so many different places where you've brought your gift, you've been very, very blessed that you've worked. And if anyone looks at your resume, it's very impressive. But there's no creative artist who doesn't go through a time when he or she was right for a part, right for a job, and it didn't come through. How do you personally deal with disappointment or rejection or not getting what you know you would be excellent for?
That is a very good question. I would say that you have to believe in yourself. And I actually was given very good advice, come to think of it. This reminds me of some great advice I was given while I was on America's Got Talent from one of the producers I worked with there, who told me that the best thing you can do, and the only thing you can do, is to be true to yourself and to do the best, absolute, no questions asked that you can do in the room at that time. And if you walk off that stage, no matter what the result is, if you gave everything you had and you said to yourself, I couldn't have done anything more in that moment, then you have to walk away with knowing that it was either meant to be or not meant to be. And while the arts are something incredibly subjective, of course, and it's hard not to take things personally, you have to remember that you may not have been what they're looking for. And that's not a reflection on you. That's just, there's something else down the line that's waiting for you that you have to not give up before it happens.
Okay. Now, speaking of America's Got Talent, for those who didn't see it, there's a great moment on the show where Daniel is challenged by Simon in a way that a lot of us watching it would say that was kind of like, talk about a painful setup that could have been a disaster. So you having worked with this guy, Simon Cowell, who's got an amazing following, both those who love him and those who hate. Is he a hard-hearted son of a gun, or has he got a heart of mush? Who is this guy?
Respectfully, I would say that it depends on who you ask. To me, I appreciate Simon for everything that he is, because number one, first and foremost, he's an incredible producer, a music mogul, and he's a true, what we like to call, he's a song guy. He's not just a hands-off producer. He truly understands every artist that he works with, and that's what he does. When you walk on stage, especially as a musician, on America's Got Talent or one of his other shows, when he's in that chair, he's the producer, and he immediately throws you into a producer-artist relationship. And that's what happened for me when I went out there and he said, that song was great, but I'd rather hear you sing this one. Whenever Simon gives you a criticism or something that may sound really cutting to someone who's in the audience, or to those of us who are on stage, perhaps, we just have to think about, it's never intended to be off the cuff mean. It's only the heart of what he's saying is only to make you better. So it may come across harsh or gruff, but if you really listen to what he's saying, it's never wrong. So
Wow.
He really is just trying to make you a better artist and a better performer.
So you handle criticism well?
I like to think that I do.
Okay.
It's something that we all go through and we all deal with, but really, if someone is moved to say something to you that is a critique, you want to take, I would say that, and again, this goes back to that advice I was given when I was on the show. You want to take every compliment and every criticism with the same grain of salt, because it's coming from an honest place, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So take every piece of commentary you've been given and really just pass it through the same filter and see what you can do with it and how it can make you better. Whether it's, I did that great, I want to do it again, or that kind of wasn't great, you shouldn't do that anymore. And you're like, yeah, you're probably right. It's always good to be learning from every opportunity on the stage.
You sound, even for a young man, much wiser than me in that if I give a homily on a Sunday, Daniel, and 10 people walk out the door saying they loved it, or one guy says, that was the worst I ever heard, for some reason, the rest of the day, I'm going to focus on that son of a gun who told me how lousy it was. You don't let the negative get to you, do you?
I try not to, but I'm right there with you. It is hard. It is hard to balance those positive and negatives. The negatives do seem to carry a little more weight, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you're really, for me, what I love to do is just to be able to lay everything out on the table that's happened, especially after a performance. Like that's one thing I can't do, is just go home and not think about the show after the show's done. There's so much more work that goes into it after it's over. There's a whole, you call it like a debrief or whatever you want. You run down everything that went on during the show. What can we fix? What can we do better? And then the feedback is a huge part of that as well. And just to lay it all on the table and look at it and see, what did I learn and what can I improve?
Daniel Emmet is our guest. Daniel, our producer Lisa had the privilege of going to Westbury Music Fair and hearing Marie Osmond sing, and that's how she got to meet you. I'm just wondering, having gone on the road with Marie, she's certainly an icon in the world of entertainment, but who's the person?
Who's the person of Marie?
Yeah.
Marie is exactly who she is on stage as she is off stage. She is the most kind and giving, passionate human being who I've ever had the privilege of working with. And it's someone who, as an icon, as you say, it's a masterclass to be around her, both on stage and off. And just the grace that she handles her performance and the amount of care and drive that she has for her performances, for every aspect of the show she puts on. She's so hands-on with everything, and she is constantly growing and changing. Even when she's become one of the greatest legends of the music industry, she still never stops working and never stops improving. And it's something that I really try to take away and learn from every time I'm with her. And just the opportunity to share the stage with her is such a gift.
Yeah. Now, Daniel Emmet, for those who don't know, is a relatively young man, but I want to mention this. Marie, and she was very honest when she came on our show some months ago, the cost of success, the ups and downs in family life, the pain that comes with struggling to reach the audience you want to. And she was very honest in sharing that. Now, you're young at this still, but I'm wondering, have you figured out yet, maybe it's too early, how will I have a normal life? How will I maintain relationship? How will I stay grounded with a life that's going to take me all over the place? Entertainment is necessarily a traveling business. And how will I then deal with the challenges that Marie spoke of so eloquently of trying to have a great career, but also trying to live a somewhat normal life?
I think that's a very excellent question. And right off the bat, I would say the number one way to stay grounded is to have a great support system. And while no matter where the road takes you, where the career takes you, we all dream that it takes us on the ride of a lifetime, whatever that may be. But it's so important to remain, as you say, grounded. And there's two ways in my life that I try to do that. One is through my support system, which is my family and my friends. And maintaining relationships is difficult, but it's having those people in your life who understand what it is that you're doing and who are there to support you and to be along with you and get to share in that joy and that journey. And they are treasured. This right here is my built-in alarm system, my support system here at home. This is my dog, Blue. And
how old is Blue?
He is about 4.5. And he is he was a little rescue that I met while I was hiking here in Vegas. And that's a whole longer story, but basically he's the best thing ever. And he is a wonderful built-in alarm system and companion. And our other dog, Chloe, is the other one who's barking out there.
Now for those watching YouTube, you understand what's going on. For those of you who are listening on Sirius XM, Daniel just was embracing one of the loves of his life, is his dog Blue. So since you can't see it, I wanted you to see him affectionately holding on to Blue. Let's go back to something that can happen. Certainly, as I watch something of the clip of America's Got Talent, and you have these literally thousands of people cheering you and celebrating you and being happy for you. I thought to myself, how does anyone in this business where you're on the stage receiving that kind of adulation, what keeps you humble? What makes sure that your ego doesn't get too far afield? I imagine part of it is what you're saying in terms of having that support system who will tell you the good and the less good. But do you have anything internally, Daniel, that makes you recognize it's nice to be famous, it's nice to be popular, but at the end of the day, I know who I am?
Absolutely. The thing for me about why I'm making music, it's not to be I don't like to use the word celebrity or anything. That's not never the goal. Never the goal to be a famous person. It's just to share the joy that music is with as many people as possible. And that's what I'm here to do. That's my job, is to share joy and to lift people out of whatever that they may or may not be going through, and just to give them a break from their day-to-day life. And if they can find that respite, that escape in my music or in one of my shows, then I've done my job. That's what, it's not about me on a stage. It's about everyone in that room or everyone listening to it, wherever they are, sharing in that moment and just getting to take a break and just to go somewhere else. That's what art exists for, is to spread joy and to move people, to feel emotions. And if I'm lucky enough to get to do that every day for the rest of my life, then I've lived the greatest life I can possibly imagine.
Right. Daniel, we had a long time ago a great opera singer named Licia Albanese, who was a world-renowned soprano many years ago. She died at over 100 years of age, but she said she loved her career as a popular singer in opera because it allowed her to also then, on the side, do so many charitable works and help people out, because she could use her fame for good cause. As you become more and more noted, how do you want to use your notoriety in the best sense?
Well, to use the notoriety in the best sense for me would be to help people, however that is. There are charities that I have been very fortunate to be involved with since the beginning of my career. And I know I haven't been doing this that long, so that's a weird sentence to say, but there are groups that are near and dear to my heart and causes, such as actually the very first time I ever sang on a stage as a solo artist was for a charity gala right here in Las Vegas for the Nevada Childhood Cancer Foundation. And to be able to start in that way was very special, because right off the bat, my career focus was about giving. It wasn't about me. It was an opportunity to share music in a setting where we were helping other people. And since then, I've become very involved with a group based out of New York City called the Sepsis Alliance. And they are very, very passionate about sharing awareness about sepsis and the dangers it can pose to our communities in the US and around the world. And I've been very, very passionate about working with that charity, and along with others. Just, that's the whole point, is to make the world a better place, whether that's through our art or through other ways that we can give, whatever it is, however I can do that, to just, the world has enough problems and it doesn't need more of them. So if I can do whatever I can do to make things a little bit better, whether that's to sing a song for somebody's special day or release a piece of music that people connect with and can, take a break from whatever the stresses and struggles are in life, or if it's to showcase music through a charity and shed light on what they're doing. That's the goal.
Daniel Emmet, our guest. Daniel, you had to know, coming on a program like this, being interviewed by a Catholic priest, I have to ask you the question. I don't know anything about your faith background, faith upbringing. Tell me a little bit about that journey.
So first and foremost, I'm Christian. And I went to a Lutheran high school here in Las Vegas called Faith Lutheran. So I had a great faith-based education as well there. And the most important thing, faith is, ironically, I know our show is called Personally Speaking, and faith is very personal to me. So you have a great name for your show. That actually goes back to an earlier question when you asked about what keeps you grounded. There's a ritual that I always do before every show. And that's just to take a moment, or a performance or recording, you name it, whatever it is. Anytime I'm about to do work that involves singing or sharing the gift of music, I always try to take at least a minute, if not a little bit longer, just to tap in to that wonderful source of spiritual and faithful energy that is prayer. And just to ask that whatever I'm about to do, or we're about to do as a group, or whoever is involved in the project, that it just is transparent and sends light out into the world and is a reflection of who God wants us to be. And that's what I ask for with anything, any project I'm involved, or any time I go to do work. And that's what also keeps me grounded, outside of a family, outside of the dog, outside of the great friendships that I have and things that remind me who I am. It's that the power of music is bigger than us. It comes from somewhere else that's not human. There's no way something that beautiful can come out of the world that we're in. So that to me is tapping into that spiritual, prayerful source every time that I go out and do what I love.
For our listeners, Daniel Emmet has a voice that's truly a gift from above. But that's where I want to stop for a second. We had the iconic baseball player Derek Jeter on, and I said every American kid wants to be a successful athlete and popular and rich and all the other things that come with him being who he is as a Hall of Famer. But why would God give you, Derek, that gift? And he said, I don't know, but I'm not going to ask him because I don't want him to change his mind. Um, so
That's a
Daniel,
great answer.
let me ask you, I mean, everybody would like to have the power of voice that you have, but you have it. Why you?
I don't know. That's the long and the short of it is I don't know why this sound falls out of my face the way it does, but I can only hope that I use I use the power for good, if that makes sense. It's there to, I believe that it was given to me to inspire people and to lift people up and to not create stress or divides in people's lives. It's there just to spread joy and to spread light and to
Yeah.
remind people that things can get better and
Yeah.
that whatever struggle you're going through will pass. We'll get through it. That's why I don't like to sing a lot of, well, I shouldn't say I don't sing a lot of ballads. I do sing a lot of sad love songs in my shows, but a lot of the material that my favorite song of all time to sing is the prayer, because it's all about what is coming, what is that no matter what's going on right now, if you just remember to be kind and to take care of one another and to share that love with your neighbor, the life's going to be a better place.
Yeah. I like that whole concept. And let me ask you this too. You're a young guy now, so this is a strange question to ask, but we all, if we're lucky enough, stay around planet Earth long enough to get older. Do you have any concept how, as a young, dynamic talent, you're going to handle the process of aging?
Well, I hope that I age like my family has, with grace and dignity. And I had a
Okay.
great grandfather who reached 104.
Wow.
So, who actually, that's where the name Emmet comes from. That's my middle name, and
Okay.
that was his name. So I hope, I would love to live to 100 plus. I think that would be an incredible achievement. But
Yeah.
I would just, like I said, the way that I would approach aging is, I hope I still get to sing. That's all that matters. And if I can't sing, I hope I get to make music in some other way.
Yeah.
And to me, that's, as long as I'm making music in some form or another, then I don't feel that I've aged today, because that's what's going to keep me young and that's what's going to keep me focused.
Speaking of your music, if people go online to dig up stuff on Daniel, I was watching it last night, a great video of him singing a takeoff on Nessun Dorma, except except in this case, it was about the whole experience of Corona, the COVID pandemic we're dealing with. But what struck me is when you put this song together, and it was great, that was, over a year ago, you were so hopeful that this thing would go, and yet it keeps taxing our patience, and it won't go away, and it still holds back so much of life. Just as a person, not just as a guy who's a singing star, but as a person, how do you give perspective to the pandemic?
That's a really hard question, because I know personally, I'm tired. It's been going on. We're approaching our technically the end of the second year of it at this point.
Yeah.
And, professionally, it's thrown a lot of wrenches and a lot of works, and the arts business is no exception. We've had to reschedule many different events both in my career and the city I live in, Las Vegas, was not unaffected by any stretch. It's just the only way that I can rationalize it, if that makes sense, or look at it in a greater perspective than my own personal struggles with it, is just that it's got to end at some point, and it has to get better than what it's been. And that's my hope and my faith. Just trust that it will get better, and that life will, at some point. I'd love it to be tomorrow. I don't know that it'll be tomorrow, but I'd love for life to go back to what I remember now it feels like distant past, and when it wasn't this way.
Yeah.
And there are things that, as an artist and as a human being, I am, it's weird to say, but grateful for what this situation has taught me. where it's taught me to treasure and value the relationships and the time that I have with people. Because, going on 2 years of weird distances and not seeing people for certain times, I hadn't seen my grandparents for 2 years.
Wow.
So, different things like that, you become more grateful for the memories and the times that you share. And also, as an artist, it gave me time to put things under the microscope, work on myself. I know I still sound I don't sound like a singer at the moment because I'm getting over a cold, but I promise I have worked on my voice and my, had a lot of time. It's been a creative time period in a weird roundabout backwards way. And I think it inspired a lot of people to think outside the box and to grow in ways they wouldn't have had to do. There is an analogy that I think it's sea creatures like crabs and lobsters only grow when they're under pressure. They only grow out of their shells when they're under pressure. And I feel that that's been very much something that the arts community has done in this pandemic. We have been under immense pressure. And I think we've really learned and tried things and grown. And whenever we come out the other side, we're going to come out stronger.
I want to thank Daniel Emmet for being with us. As you can tell, if you've listened to this interview, a wonderfully good human being, a man who loves his God, a man who loves his family, a man who's grateful to people who helped him along the way, his mentors and others, someone who sees the good in so many and can celebrate someone like Simon Cowell and Marie Osmond and so many other people he's had the privilege to work with. Just a good guy who wants his music to last, but also wants people to know of the goodness of his heart. And Daniel, I wish you every success. You're such a talented guy, but also a good person. And boy, that combination is just what the world needs now. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me. It was an honor.
As we end today's program, I want to thank you all for being with us. If you need to reach out to me for any reason, you can get me at personallyspeakingpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to see past episodes, go to YouTube and punch in Personally Speaking with Msgr Jim Lisante. And please don't forget to click like and subscribe. Personally Speaking is also available as a podcast. Personally Speaking podcast.buzzsprout.com. Or you can go to www.closeencountertv.com or www.ollmp.org. You'll also find there our weekly mass and homilies. I'm going to encourage you also to look on Facebook at Personally Speaking with Msgr Jim Lisante. We're also now on Instagram at Personally Speaking Podcast. Please share and let others know about Personally Speaking. I'm privileged to serve as host and executive producer of Personally Speaking. Our producer is Lisa Jandovitz. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be with you again next time on Personally Speaking.